I'll second.
Okay, so our principal agenda item is to talk about the survey that Jeff provided. Jeff, did people send you any information that you want to
Yes.
do, or do you just want?
No, people sent me information. I've incorporated those updates. A lot of it was little misses that I missed, correcting some grammar, pointing out some proper things, like how numbers should be linking to each other. That was the main thing. It was not anything.
Jenny, can you give us screen share capabilities? Okay, so you have it?
Yep, okay. I do. I can share my screen.
If you'd like to put it up, then it would probably be good to just walk through it to make sure everybody's okay with it.
Yep. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Cool. All right. So we'll go through it. I think it might just need to touch up on formatting a little bit more, but so first we start out with the cable TV specific questions. Right? Does your household subscribe to Xfinity TV? I guess one thing actually I forgot to ask, do we want to refer to it as Xfinity throughout the document or Comcast throughout everything, just for consistency's sake? I guess what will people know it better by at this point? Or does it matter?
It matters personally, but I don't know, anybody else? Any thoughts on?
I think Xfinity is appropriate. I mean, you know, that's at least what I know it.
Yeah, right? Okay. Sounds good. So, right, first question, do you subscribe? Are you a subscriber to, actually, we should probably spell that out a little bit. Xfinity, because someone pointed this out later. Yeah. Make it as clear as possible. So. And which Xfinity services do you apply for? Basic TV, phone, internet, don't know. Which of the following?
If the answer to the first question is no, then should we, then we can actually have them skip. We should probably tell them that, or put right after question one, if no, or somewhere, if no, skip to question, whatever it is. Would people agree with that?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so that at the time, but that does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I guess it's this way, or do we want to just say?
That looks good.
Yeah, I like the way you did it at the end.
This one? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so then we've got the services. Yep. And then questions about the lineup and all that sort of thing. That's fine.
Reliability, quality of the service, quality of Xfinity's customer service.
Right.
How many of you lost the cable signal? I think it's important here that we called out. Oops, sorry. Cable specifically.
Now, should we be more clear as to what we mean by question 8? I'm not sure, but I raise that question to folks.
I'd say yes.
And the issues we're talking about is essentially, has you run into any difficulty if you lost your signal for a period of time? Is that correct or not?
I agree with you. I agree with that. I think it's about technical issues. I mean, you could add, billing issues and things like that, but are we more concerned about technical issues for the most part?
I guess,
Go ahead, Jeff.
well, I was gonna say, when we're talking to them about talking to Xfinity about the service and things like that, it's sort of, we sort of need the holistic feeling towards people, not just technical, but like, have you had billing issues? Have you had like any type of issue, not just technical, is sort of in my head. Because when we're making the negotiation with them, that's gonna matter more at that point.
Is the word complaint better than issues?
That might be an interesting one to use, because I recall that Xfinity creates an annual report of their responses to complaints, and they send it in a letter to the select board. And when they sent it the last time, when it was, I don't know whether it was in May or June or when, but anyway, sometime this year they sent it. And I think they reported on 2 complaints or something like that. And Bob Sikansky went berserk because he had had himself a whole bunch of complaints for him. And so he said that was just a ridiculous sort of thing.
And I guess the question here, I misspelled that. If you answered yes to question 8 above, or do we like the, I'm just gonna copy and paste this really quick. Would you rather see it saying if you have had any complaints on a scale, or if you answered yes to question 8 on a scale? Which one seems a little bit more natural? Because this provides the way you don't have to relook at question
Yeah.
8 to think about the context, even though you just answered the question.
They both work for me, but again,
I'm happy with either. Any
yeah,
particular strong feelings either way from anybody?
no.
No.
I think we're splitting hairs.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, I'm gonna go with this one.
I think that's okay.
Just calling out the not a little bit more. Yeah, and then if you're a never, or if you're a former cable subscriber, so that could be 2 very different buckets.
Did we say these 2
Recapitalized, but,
questions only? These 2 questions only apply? That hopefully they don't skip the Bolton access and so on and think they're done?
So these 2 questions only apply? You're not,
Right.
Okay.
And what I was going to say is that you may want to make former a lowercase, since it's not really a formal word in this case.
Right.
Yeah.
minor matter, of course, but.
Yeah. Okay, any more questions on this one? Comments on this one?
No.
Fine.
So the next ones are the Bolton Access TV questions.
Right.
Mhm.
So are you familiar?
On that very first sentence there, can you just add an S after channels so it's 2 channels? Perfect.
Good.
Sounds good.
You might want to note somewhere or other in question 12 about channels 8 and 99 by name or whatever. I don't know.
Well, I think we
Oh,
cover that.
okay. You're right. You're right. They're
down
there.
here,
Okay.
so,
Yep. Sorry.
yeah.
Okay. Good. No, that's a good. Yeah, Nikki's adding that S was the solution. That's fine. Okay.
Okay. So then we got 8.99 video on demand, YouTube.
Right.
The show was YouTube and Bolton Access Facebook. So one piece of feedback as well I did get was the table splits between 2 pages. I don't know how to handle that cleanly without putting a bunch of white space in between. It was good feedback. I just don't have a good solution for it.
Well, when it goes
Can
to
you continue
SurveyMonkey,
the top? Can you continue the top row on the next page?
Yeah, I can do that. Yep.
Yeah.
So
and the other thing is that when it's put on SurveyMonkey, I don't believe they
That's
yeah, we're not going
go
to have this
pages,
issue.
and so it wouldn't be a problem.
It wouldn't be
Yeah.
a problem. Yeah, that's correct.
Um, so Facebook has a lowercase b in its name in the bullet under 16.
Oh. Oh, yeah, yep.
We just insert is there in front of question 15.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we move the word other to be before type? So say other type of programming.
Okay.
To me, at least, that's more common usage, I guess.
Yeah.
you could say.
Yeah.
Again, possibly a lowercase q in the following questions.
Mhm.
The other one
Yep.
might be the word consumed as opposed to viewed.
Viewed makes more sense.
Okay.
Question 19. Um, whether there's a difference between, whether we're looking for differences in the answers between somebody, oh, like I think Jeff, you had mentioned that you don't have cable and that you have multiple streaming services that you switch around and this, that, and the other, versus somebody that does have cable, but has a Netflix subscription, they look at it sometimes, or perhaps do a live stream look on Facebook Live if there's one on those every month or two. It would seem to me that that those two uses of the internet and media services are very different, but maybe they aren't. I don't know. But I wanted to raise that question as to whether people consider them to be different.
If you added without cable to do you use the internet, would that help clarify?
Well, I guess it might, but I guess the question is, do we care what percentage of people say yes versus no? Is there anything meaningful to us about the answers to that question? Because my guess is that many people, even whether they're cable subscribers or not, would probably answer yes if they did Facebook Live every so often, or looked up a YouTube thing that because somebody told them about it on Facebook or something like that. So if we don't need to differentiate between those two types of uses, then I think having it there, I don't think you need to add the cable thing in there.
All right, that's fair.
But I'm not sure.
No, I agree. I think 19 helps us give some idea of the prevalence of streaming services. People now, integrating internet along with traditional television.
That's certainly true.
I know I personally have kind of embraced it fairly recently. I was pretty much a true cable guy for a long time.
My only thought here is, do we need to ask this question if we just simply add other and none up here, down here? Because which services, you check it, and that means we know this answer is going to be yes. And if you select no, none, then the answer to this is not no. Like that was my only thought is,
That's true.
does this give you the answer to this? So
I think it does.
Well,
I think it does.
It does, but if you leave question 19 in there and you answer no, then you can skip immediately to either the end of the survey or the next relevant question, right?
I don't know. I mean, I watch both cable and love Fire Stick. So I would say that I use the internet to access television. Yes.
Yes.
Again, wouldn't be long ago, quite honestly, if somebody, I would have probably answered no.
No, and
I was
then
just a kind of a happy cable guy
Right,
and was
right.
getting enough out of it.
Mhm.
But I've fallen in love with the Fire Stick, and it's an integral part for me now.
Mhm.
So
So
I
you
think,
would
I think
say,
19 stands okay.
so you would say, you would answer to question 19, yes,
right.
and then you would skip to question 20. If yes, which streaming services do you subscribe to? And then you
That's
pick
fair.
all the services you view, and then you then you go to question 21, which basically says, what device are you using to stream, right?
Right.
You're using the stick, and so on and so forth, right? So
That's true. Yes.
and then 19, you could say, hey, if you answer no to 19, you could skip immediately to question 22. Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
On 21, what's the answer if you basically use a laptop and plug it into your TV to watch it with an HDMI cable?
Other.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as that's where that would be covered, and I didn't know whether that was something, but that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, because you're either buying a specific device for it or you're going to use, yeah, a computer to do it. So
Right.
Right.
Or an iPad or whatever.
And
yeah.
is Fire Stick at a device that
It's
hooks
an
into your
Amazon
computer or
device,
what?
right?
Yeah, it's quite remarkable. Quite remarkable. A tremendous number of offerings. And you combine it with Prime and it's fabulous.
So it's a service that they provide?
I mean, no, it's an actual stick that you plug into your one of the free HDMI ports on your television. It has a tiny remote, and you select the source on your main TV remote, like HDMI 3,
Mhm.
and then you basically pick up the Fire Stick remote, and now you drive your selections with the Fire Stick remote. And I'm sure there's remotes that handle everything in one, but I'm old fashioned.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I've never heard of.
It's really great. It's $35 or something.
Hmm.
Well
Yeah.
worth it. Yeah.
Is that part of cutting the cord?
For me, it was enhancing the channel selection. Quite honestly, I'm hooked on the Tour de France bicycle race, and it was not available through Comcast. They cut what's called NBC Sports, which I had no other interest in the Tour de France, and so thankfully this Peacock is available through the Fire Stick, and they featured extensive coverage of the Tour de France.
Hmm.
So that's my own personal interest. I'd be curious if anybody else, I'm just sorry if I'm digressing. Anyone have any luck with Chromecast? I tried it and couldn't even get it going.
Ooh.
Chromecast, I did use once. I did found it too frustrating, especially for my wife. I actually went to Roku because Roku provides similar functionality to the Fire TV stick,
Right.
but it's not owned by Amazon.
Right.
That's really all.
Okay.
And so we use Roku's. But yeah, I have a Chromecast, but I used it a few times. My wife did not like it because you had to use it like with your phone to cast the, and it was
It was
just,
terrible.
it was
Yes,
too much. She's like, give me a remote in my hand so I can use
absolutely.
it.
Yep. Yep.
So
Well said. Okay. Okay. Is 23 another one of these sort of black holes, or um, I guess it's one of the famous, skip down,
yeah, well, I was trying to think
or
because
just
we
ignore
have,
24?
yeah, I mean, since we're only really super concerned about like Xfinity, there's not really any other internet providers in town.
Right.
Yeah, do we need to ask this since we've left this question so open?
Right.
Can't hurt to have it.
No.
Well, my thought is it's starting to get long. So cutting these two questions, if they're not adding value, we'll just put the demographics sort of at the end.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Because this is what it would look like.
Right.
Right, and just it ends it nicely on at least a page layout.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that
Looks
works.
like enough. I'll be honest.
yeah.
So, so everybody is satisfied with this?
Looks pretty good.
it looks
would
very good.
probably, just for bureaucratic purposes, it would probably be good if we had a motion and vote to accept the survey as we've put it together, and then we can talk about what we need to do to actually get it in the hands of people and stuff.
Right.
So if somebody would want to move that, that would be great. Move to approve the survey, I think would be.
I'll move to approve the survey since I have it on my screen.
I'll second.
is there any further discussion than what we've already had? All in favor?
Aye,
I,
Aye,
Aye.
aye.
okay. That's unanimous. Okay. So, Jeff, did you talk with Jenny about the Survey Monkey?
No, I got the Zoom information from Jenny. I asked that question. I think she missed it because she got me the Zoom piece. And she's out this week. So I'll have to wait till next week to ask her that question again. So
Okay. I believe that the town has a Survey Monkey subscription and that they can give you the password, and it's very simple to go on, put the survey online, and then make it available and put, closing date, have some comments at the beginning about the closing date and all that sort of stuff. I've been involved in several that have been done through the town, and were quite straightforward to do, and for people to respond, and for the analysis of the data to be done once it was done. So anyway,
Okay,
so, but if we could, so I guess check with Jenny and see,
Yep.
From her point of view, what's involved, and that she gives all the right information, and then we can turn it on and go from there. How long? What have we discussed so far about when we want to finish that up and begin to get results back? Did we? I think we sort of talked about running it into September, right? So that people were back for school and all of that.
right.
Yeah, okay, so we're talking about gathering the feedback in September and October. So we were talking a couple of months. Do you want to say October 1st for the due date, or later than that?
I would lean towards October 7th. It just gives people like, hey, we want it by the end of September. Give people an extra week to forget about the end of September, to finish the feedback, and then do it. So I would say do end of September, final due date October 7th. Right, because that gives people a little bit of extra time just in case things go wrong. So
that hopefully will be the primary way that people respond. However, we want to have hard copies available so that people who don't can still get it and fill it out. And so, which in a way is ironic, since our whole questioning is about using a computer to watch television, but I think we need to do that anyway.
Sure.
And people talk about senior citizens not necessarily having access and things of that sort. So, so we definitely want to have some hard copies. Now, one of the features of SurveyMonkey, which one of us with the access privileges can do, is to enter results that are submitted by hand. And it's not difficult at all. It takes a minute or two to put it all in there, but basically what you're doing is on behalf of each of the hard copy ones that have been submitted, you're adding one to as if you were a new person going on to do the survey. And so it's just a matter of doing that. And so when I did it, I used to receive 5 or 10 at a time and just sit down and put them in. I mean, so it was no big deal at all. So I think we're going to want to do that. It's a good question about hard copies, and maybe I don't know, what are people's thoughts on the number of copies? Do you think 100 split in several different places? Town hall, library, and senior center, and I'm not sure where else. Do you think that if there were 4 locations and there were 25 copies, then that would be enough until they began to run out, in which case we could make some more copies or whatever it was, just kind of track the use of it. I don't remember, and this Jenny might know about, but I don't remember whether hard copy surveys have been put in any public locations like Bolton Bean or Country Cupboard or something like that, Bolton Orchards or something like that. They may or may not want them in any case, but that would be another thing to consider too. So I don't know. But I think starting with those 3 might be enough. And based on input we get from others, we can maybe expand it as needed.
Post office,
That would certainly be okay too.
you've got that counter where people could fill it out.
Yeah, that's right. Sure. Yeah, that would be fine. And I think I had forgotten about them. Yeah, we'd want, I don't know, would you have a Dropbox right there? Or ask them to drop it off at the town hall or something like that? I don't know.
Probably a Dropbox right there, easiest path to get things done. I don't think people are going to drop stuff off at town hall for something as unimportant to them as a survey.
Yeah.
So we'll need to figure out what kind of Dropboxes to use, but and so we'd want to have a sign with or either the beginning of the survey or the sign that would indicate when they should, by when they should submit it and things of that sort.
Right. I'm wondering if 25 seems a little meager. Boost it up to 40.
On each?
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
And what you might check with Jenny as to whether, we don't have a budget, but you might find out if the town has a way that we can use an in-house facility to get the printing, or whether we would need to go to Staples or wherever to get them printed. I'm sure amongst us, we can cover the cost of
Oh, God.
printing 100 copies, so it's not as if it's
Yeah. Yeah.
a difficult thing, but I think to check would probably be a good idea.
What's it going to be? 4 pages?
It is, sorry.
As amended?
It's 5 pages.
Okay.
Let's be sure to do front and back.
Yeah.
Which would mean that it's only 3. pieces of paper, which is better. So does somebody want to volunteer to handle the printing side of things, so that find out from the town if they'll allow it and do that, and or get it then done at Staples and be reimbursed or whatever? Is there somebody that can take that on?
I can do that. Ed Sterling.
Great. And so Jeff, why don't you send a copy of the final to everybody? And in fact, what you might want to do is convert it to PDF and send it, and that way it'll be in final form, that people will know it's in final form, and know that it's, we're not going to make changes and stuff to it. And PDFs are what the printing services would have if we took it to Staples or something. Anyway, they would work with the PDFs easily as well.
Good.
And I would say that in both cases, it'd be really just however long you need to get the copies made and distributed, and to get the SurveyMonkey thing up and running, and get the permissions from her. And if it turns out that just assume that the town has a SurveyMonkey account. If they don't, then we need to have a conversation about what it takes to get one and things like that. Shouldn't be a big deal, but we would need to talk about that, I'm sure.
Okay.
So I'm happy to handle all the digital stuff, the building the survey. I can ask Jenny about the SurveyMonkey tool. If we don't have one, then I'll bring it back to the group. And then I'm happy to post it on Facebook as well. I was going to post it on probably the Bolton community page. Is there anywhere else, and then also on the cable advisory committee page for us, anywhere else we want it posted?
I'll post it on the Bolton Access page as well.
Thank you.
We should also let Kristen I can't talk tonight. Kristen DeJong know, so that she will probably pin to the top if we tell her about it.
Okay.
What you might want to do is just let her know that we're going to be doing that and would like to have that done. And then whenever Jeff gets it posted, she'll know what it is and can go from there.
Yeah,
I suggest that because Nikki and I know her very well, and Jeff, you might not. And so
Sounds good.
It's a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Take care of that.
I'm
What were
happy
you
to
gonna
not
say,
do
Nikki?
something.
Yeah, what we're going to say, Nikki?
yeah, I'll email her and I'll copy you, Jeff, so that you have her email address. That way you can just let her know when you post it. Because so much stuff gets posted on the Bolton community page that it gets lost sometimes. So stuff like that, she'll often pin it so that it stays up at the top.
Yeah.
Copy of the agenda in front of me, but is there anything else that we have other than this? I know the survey was the main thing, but is there anything else that anybody needs to bring up?
I think that was it.
You're happy, Nikki? You don't need anything right now?
No, I think that looks really good.
Okay. Is there a reason to meet during August? I'm not sure I see one, but I float that out there so that we can set a date if there is an interest in meeting again. I would think to have a meeting in early September after kids are back in school and all of that, and would make some sense. And then what we could do is to see how things are going and see whether we need any additional hard copies and see what the response has been so far and see if we need to increase the publicity on it or whatever it might be. And then we can also talk at that meeting about when we're going to do the public hearing and, kind of nail down some of the fall schedule stuff.
Right.
So I don't know, does that seem reasonable to people?
Yes.
And just looking at my calendar, Labor Day's on the 5th, so we could conceivably meet on the 8th, which is Thursday, if we're still Thursday people. Then we could meet on the 8th of September if you wanted to do that. We can always call another meeting if we need to in between, but we can agree on that one now and block that off and stuff. Make sense?
8th is fine.
I forgot the one other thing that we said we wanted to do is bring it to I don't remember the name of the event in the Bolton Common, the farmers market.
Oh, yeah.
I said we wanted to bring it there.
Okay, so maybe what makes sense is Ed, if that you basically start the hard copy handout at that event, and then take the copies that are left and distribute them around to those places for anybody who didn't go to those. I don't know. Does that make sense or not? Or is that
Yeah.
confusing the issue?
No, it's
Makes
fine.
sense.
And so, Nikki, is there anything on the Bolton Access TV side that would be helpful in sharing a space at that market?
Yeah, well, it would certainly be good to have some sort of marketing presence, because I'm sure there will be people there who don't know we exist. Let me think about what that could be. So probably at least a sign or something.
Okay, does anybody know what the dates of that? I know there were 2 of them, but the dates of those farmers markets
20 and 27
of August?
of August. Yep. And I think one in September, I'm tempted to say something like the 10th. Does that make sense? Let's see. Yes, September 10th is the 3rd and final Backyard Bolton.
Did you say September 10th or 19th?
It's the 10th. The 10th.
I think you wrote down September 19th on the spreadsheet.
I did. You're right. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I was
Thank you for
I was
catching it.
trying to- testing whether my eyes saw it correctly or not. Do you guys anticipate having like your own table there, or sort of kind of grouping with somebody else who's already at Backyard Bolton?
I would say a separate table, but I don't know.
Just wondering, that'll help me think about like what I could use to sort of promote Bolton Access while you're there.
Ed, do you have any thoughts on that, since Chris is a frequent operator at one of those?
Well, everybody tends to have a pop-up tent. The pavilion, I don't think has any special use, and I don't believe it's reserved for anything special itself. So that's a possible sheltered sheltered location. Sometimes there's some community groups. I'm just trying to think if economic development itself has something. Isn't there one for like senior housing? So there's some, non-commercial groups that typically come to set something up, and the question is whether they'd be willing to just have a survey, stand or something like that. As I say, alternatively, the pavilion itself could be used, and I imagine it would just be kind of a static poster of our two channels with a list of the things that we offer. But as you say, I think there's people that just have no idea at all. A little brochure, or just a handout probably couldn't
Yeah.
hurt. Couldn't hurt at all.
I could certainly put together something like that.
Right.
I
Right.
have a pop-up tent that we could use if you need one. Just a little, white 10 by 10 pop-up.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's all
So
needed, I think.
I think Eric Nealand is kind of in charge of the event typically. So we need to contact him and ask if there's a vendor space for community support. So I can write that down. And see if there's a location for cable committee. And we'll find out.
Well, thanks for bringing that up, whoever did, because that's very good, and that will be quite helpful, I think.
Yeah, I remember we brought it up before, and I'm like, there's one other thing we missed. But
Okay.
like it wasn't my idea, but it was someone else's idea. I just remembered it.
So Ed, let us know what Eric has to say, and then we can send some emails around and see if we can get one or two people per hour or whatever it is to cover if need be, or pick up the results at the end or whatever. It
Right.
would probably be good if there was somebody there to
Yes.
be able to answer questions and talk about Bolton access and things of that sort. But
Agreed.
if you can at least find out and get us a reservation or whatever, that would be good. And then we can
Okay.
go from there. So do you want to tentatively have the next meeting on September 8th, or do you want to have it prior to the first backyard Bolton thing so that we can discuss further particulars for that? Doesn't matter to me. Whatever you think.
I would wonder that email would just probably be as good a chain of any as a reminder, and who can come, and here's what we've got, and so on and so on.
Okay, and it's
Probably as
not,
good as anything.
yeah, and that kind of information is certainly not deliberation and
Right.
action on the part of a committee. It's simply
No, we're not.
the logistics of
Right. We're
one
not making a
of
decision.
one particular event. So I think
Right.
that would be okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so why don't we leave the date then, if there's no objection, to the 8th of September, and then coordinate the event by email once Ed finds out more about it from Neil, or from
Eric.
Eric.
Okay.
Okay. Great.
All right.
Okay, anything anybody else has? Well, I'll accept the motion to adjourn then.
Move, we adjourn.
At 7:51. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye. See you later.